Check it out, everyone. John V here from PhoneArena. You're watching our in-depth video review of the Samsung Gravity TXT. It's available right now through T-Mobile with the 2-year contract price of only $10, so it's an inexpensive and affordable messaging phone. Follows in the same line as other Gravity phones, but ultimately, it's going to be a decent messaging experience. Design-wise, there's nothing really too attractive about the handset. It's pretty much a typical basic entry-level device, constructed of some plastic materials. Makes it lightweight, a little bit on the thicker side, but nevertheless doesn't feel that overly large or hefty in the hand. It's kind of on the cheap side though. It doesn't feel as solid as we'd like, but nevertheless, this is what you get with the basic handset. Kind of scary to believe it, but the Samsung Gravity TXT features a 2.4-inch QVGA display with support for 262,000 colors. It's definitely low quality, lots of pixelation, bland-looking colors, not as sharp as we'd like. Handles poorly in outdoor conditions, and its limited viewing angles means that you've got to really look at it from a straight angle in order to see anything. With its numeric keypad, we're pretty content with it, large size, and they have a good feel to them, but unfortunately with the optical joystick, we're not a fan of it just because it doesn't really operate that well with the platform. There's a snappy opening and closing mechanism with the handset. Once you have it exposed, you're agreed to the 4-row QWERTY keyboard. It's not the best experience that we had in the handset just because buttons are flush and they're really hard to make out with your finger. When you press them down, it doesn't give you quite the best response out there. On the left side of the handset, we have the volume rocker. It's raised and easy to make out, and you also have a spot here for a lanyard. All by itself, on the top edge is the handset's 3.5mm headset jack. And finally, in the rear, you just have the 2-megapixel camera. The notch is here for the speakerphone. Removing the back cover, very simple, just yank it off. Agreed to its battery. SIM card's underneath it, and you have this slot-loading microSD card slot. Now, there isn't anything particularly exciting about the platform experience. It's pretty much what you find in any other feature phone out there. It's basic, straightforward, easy to learn, but with the optical joystick, it kind of makes it a little bit more of a hassle and inhibits our way of navigating around the platform here. A little bit of personalization. Of course, you could change out the layout of the main menu and also the background wallpaper, but that's pretty much it. Naturally, the core features of the phone is its messaging aspect. There's a dedicated button on the keypad to launch the messaging applications here. From here, you could create messages, MMS, your standard text messaging. You can add photos, videos, whatever you want. Nothing really different. You have also conversations just to make it a little bit easier for you to keep up with your chats with other people. You have things like email to basic client. It'll automatically set up most popular stuff. You have Exchange email on there. Social Buzz, which is basically your social networking hub. It aggregates things from Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, even RSS feeds. It's useful. Kind of slow though with its operation, but nevertheless, it has all the messaging features that you'd want. You might want to look elsewhere if you do a lot of web surfing, because this is a common message you get with large pages. It just says it's too large to display properly, and overall the experience is pretty dreadful. Very slow and not responsive at all. You can tell it doesn't load up all the things. You're better off just using a different handset for web browsing. At the same time, there isn't anything too pretty with the music player interface. It's pretty basic with its presentation. As far as the audio quality, it's pretty good at the lattice volume setting, good tones, doesn't crackle, and it's more than audible. But when you exit out of the music player, it stops the music entirely. With its super tiny and low quality display, watching videos can definitely be a challenge just because your eyes might not find it too appealing. The video we have here is encoded in MPEG-4 320 by 240. It's the maximum resolution video we could play on here. Luckily though, it's running smoothly, but nevertheless, it's still not the best handset to watch videos. You could absolutely forget about taking photos with the handset's 2-megapixel camera. It's just downright ugly. It produces some shots that are low in detail, faint details, bland-looking colors, and has a tendency to have this haziness to them. Indoors in low lighting, it doesn't get any better. Lots of digital noise, and on top of that, you got to really hold the handset still to capture photos, just because it has a tendency to look fuzzy. Equally as atrocious, the handset's QVGA video capture, so it's 320 by 240, that's the maximum resolution you can get. It shoots it at a very slow 14 frames per second, so very choppy, low details, almost indistinguishable, muffled voices. It's something you want to just stay away from. Calling quality is a little bit below average just because with the earpiece, it's not the strongest out there. Very weak, in fact, and it made it very difficult to hear our callers. Fortunately, though, they were clear in tone. On the other end of the line, our callers did say our voices do sound somewhat hollow, and when we switch to using the speakerphone, it makes the voices sound very muffled with a little bit of echoing. With signal share, we do notice the handset fluctuating a little bit. In high coverage areas, you get just a medium amount of bars to a high amount, but fortunately enough, it didn't drop any of our phone calls. Surprisingly, the handset does well with battery life, and in fact, at fully charging it, we managed to get over 10 hours of continuous talk time with it versus the manufacturer's rating of 6.5 hours, which is pretty good. For normal everyday use, we managed to get at least 2 days use out of it. At first, $10 on contract sounds pretty good for the Samsung Gravity TXT, but once after we played around with it, used the handset, we don't find it compelling at all, especially in the messaging aspects where it's supposed to be heavily focused on. With the keyboard, it is a little bit of a challenge, especially with people with large fingers. The way you input certain stuff is also indeed frustrating. For example, if you want to type in all caps, you got to press down the shift key each and every time to get it. You simply can't just hold down the shift key and consecutively press the same things. It's just annoying. And on top of that, the optical joystick here just doesn't want to work with the platform that well. We just have a lot of frustrations. Even the placement of the soft keys left and right on the keypad itself, you notice it says yes or no, and you don't really look at the bottom here. So that's some of the frustrations we have, and overall, you're probably better off going with something else if you're into messaging. So if you'd like to learn more about the Samsung Gravity TXT, you can check it out on our website, PhoneArena.com. Thanks for watching, guys.